Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys doing wonderful. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Today is December 11th, and it is Thursday. It's been a pretty interesting week so far. But hey, hopefully, all you guys are doing well, and hopefully, all you guys are enjoying your week so far. Just as a reminder, before we get into the news today, there will be no episode tomorrow as I am flying back to California, but we will return to episodes this weekend. Outside of that, though, hopefully all you guys are doing well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. It helps me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, clothing, all those kinds of things. It's $8 a month, and this is a viewer-supported program, so all the support is greatly appreciated. With that being said, though, let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first talk we have today is Trump is demanding a sale of CNN. Trump is demanding a sale of CNN in order for Paramount to purchase Warner Brothers or for Netflix to purchase Warner Brothers. This comes as Paramount and Netflix are both trying to fight to purchase the company. This is the newest in the string of sales that have been approved so far by the Trump administration, creating more and more monopolies throughout the United States. Trump said in regard to the deal, "I think any deal, it should guarantee and be certain that CNN is a part of it or sold separately. But I don't think the people that are running the company right now and running CNN, which is a very dishonest group of people, I don't think that should be allowed to continue." The amount of sales and deals that have been made under this administration really needs to be questioned. I mean, if you boil it down to it, really everything in this country is owned by the same 10 companies and the same 10 monopolies, really. Monopolies are here and they are through the roof. I mean, how often do you see like a mom and pop restaurant compared to a McDonald's? Hardly never. Or like new kinds of sodas that aren't like a Coke or Pepsi brand? Really hardly never. I mean, the corporations in the top 1% not only own far too much in this country, but control far too much within this country. And that is something that needs to be changed. It's time we get back to the era of Theodore Roosevelt and his trust busting. In other news, Trump is demanding the removal of the blue slip process. Trump is demanding the removal of the blue slip process, which the president uses to get nominees appointed faster. In a post on Truth Social, he wrote, "Blue slips are making it impossible to get great Republican judges and U.S. attorneys approved to serve in any state where there is even a single Democratic senator. If they say no, then it's over for that very well-qualified Republican candidate. Only a really far-left Democrat can be approved. It is shocking that Republicans under Senator Chuck G allowed this scam to continue. So unfair to Republicans and not constitutional. I'm hereby asking the Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a fantastic guy, to get something done, ideally the termination of blue slips. Too many great Republicans are being sent packing. None are getting approved. President Donald J. Trump." This is most definitely a scam. This is most definitely not a scam. Sorry. These blue slips do work in his favor. That's what they are for. They exist to work in the president's favor and make his appointees easier to get in. He's just a terrible dude and not liked, which is why these are not working in his favor. I mean, the process allows local lawmakers in a state to approve a nominee rather than having to go through the entire process through the Senate. Something that makes this process really quick, especially when you're liked by those around you. But that is not the case. In theory, this process would work and should work in Trump's favor, but because people don't like him, it's going to work against him. That's just how it's going to happen. In other news, FBI officials are unable to answer Antifa questions despite calling it a threat. An FBI official was asked a basic question on Antifa during an interview and was completely stumped, struggling to answer anything about it. Michael Glashin, an FBI agent who is serving as operations director for the National Security Branch, said that he agreed with Trump that Antifa is one of the greatest national security threats for the United States right now. But when asked where they existed, all he could say is, "We are building out the infrastructure right now." And when asked what that meant and if they really existed, how many members they had, all Glashin said was, "Well, that's very fluid." When pushed for more answers, all he could say was, "Well, the investigations are active." You know why they can't answer questions about Antifa? Because they're lying. It's not an organization that exists. There is no organization known as Antifa. It is the mindset of being against fascism. You know, the people who fought in World War II for this country? Antifa. Anyone who doesn't like fascism? Antifa. That's what that means. I mean, the Antifa shit is the biggest lie by this administration and one of the biggest signs that they support fascism. They are using this mindset that Antifa is this terrorist organization to go after people who are against their administration, which is not true. Antifa does not exist. There is no organization called Antifa. It is the mindset of being against fascism. In other news, talking about ICE, a judge has ordered the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. A federal judge has ruled for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, claiming the Trump administration has lacked the legal authority to hold him in jail. Judge Paulazinis said in a memo, his removal cannot be considered reasonably foreseeable, imminent, or consistent with due process. Since Abrego Garcia's wrongful detention in El Salvador, he has been redetained again without lawful authority. Garcia has now been released, according to his legal team, and looks to spend more time with his family once again. This is great news, and I really hope he is able to enjoy the time that he gets to spend with his family. I mean, Abrego Garcia has been detained over and over and over again and freed over and over and over again, and hopefully this time is the last. I mean, we've sent this man through hell and back just for wanting to be around his kids and his family, and it's about time we leave him alone for good. He doesn't deserve to be continuously attacked by ICE or this administration. In other news, Kristi Noem lied under oath about deporting veterans. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has been caught lying under oath on whether they deported any veterans. Representative Seth Magaziner, however you say that, I apologize, asked Noem how many veterans had been deported. And Noem said, "Sir, we have not deported any U.S. citizens or military veterans." She would instantly be proved wrong as Mazinger motioned to a video call with Se-Jun Park, a U.S. veteran who has earned a Purple Heart and was shot multiple times while serving for the United States, who was told in June that he would be detained if he wasn't self-deported. Mazinger asked Noem why the veteran had been deported, and Noem could not provide an answer. Lying under oath is a felony, so do we plan to charge her for that? Probably not, but I mean, this isn't the only case of people in the military or American citizens being wrongfully deported. Citizens, veterans have been deported time and time again, yet this administration shows no care or regard for that. A full display of how we treat our veterans. I mean, really, that is the truth of it. We do not treat our veterans great. That is common knowledge and something that should be changed. I mean, we should not treat those who have fought to protect our country like less than a living being. That's not okay. We should not be deporting people who fought to protect our country. We should be helping these veterans and providing them with assistance, providing them with support, providing them with programs, and all those kinds of things, because it's important to take care of those people who fight to protect us. In other news, talking about the Epstein files, senators and survivors are demanding an audit of the Epstein files. Epstein survivors and a group of Democratic senators are asking for an independent review of the Epstein files to determine if they've been tampered with or concealed ahead of their release. The letter sent allegations that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel ordered a massive review of the files that had required personnel to identify and remove, any mentions of Trump. The request reads, "To reassure the American public, any files released have not been tampered or concealed. The chain of custody forms associated with these records and evidence in the Epstein files must be accounted for, analyzed, and released." Look, as nice as this would be, I just don't think it's going to happen. Trump's name still is most definitely within those files, and it has probably definitely been scraped from a lot of these files, if not gone entirely already. And if that's not the case, they're definitely still working on it. I hope that I'm wrong about that. I really do. But if Trump is truly in those files, I guarantee you that they've been tampered with in one way or another. There's just no way he's going to let that get released and have his name all over them, especially when he controls the people who are in charge of them. I mean, that's just common sense right there with the man. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment, South Carolina is going through a measles outbreak. South Carolina health officials have reported on an accelerating measles outbreak within the state, leaving hundreds in quarantine. The outbreak, which is centered around a church and a handful of schools in Spartanburg County, has led to around 111 cases. The total of 254 were placed in quarantine after Tuesday, with 16 being isolated completely. Many of these people are unvaccinated for measles, according to the state epidemiologist, Linda Bell. This is horrible news, and I really do wish luck to all of those who have gotten sick. A majority of these people are not vaccinated, and although I'd love to see the stats in the area on who is versus who isn't vaccinated and who got the disease, even as someone who isn't a medical expert, I think I can say that this probably contribute to that in one way or another. At the end of the day, your body is your choice. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But me personally, I'd rather be safe than sorry and get a vaccine. In other news, Denmark is labeling the United States as a national security threat. Denmark has labeled the United States as a national security threat for the first time. The report from the Danish Defense Intelligence Service warns the United States uses economic power, including threats of high tariffs, to enforce its will and no longer rules out the use of military force, even against its allies. This comes at a time where relations between the United States and Denmark are very strained due to conflicts with Greenland and so much more. This is a big deal and really does pave the ways for many allies to do this as well. We've already been treating European allies not great in the slightest, and it's very possible that they could distance themselves like what we're seeing here. I think a united Europe can be very strong. This is something I've said time and time again, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's the truth. I think a united Europe is very powerful, and it's something to worry about. And if they separate themselves from the United States, I do think they can be successful. There is a lot of reliance on the United States, I will say that. But if they separate themselves, I think they would be really successful. I mean, if you look at Europe as a whole, they have a lot of these top countries like France, Poland, Germany, even Italy is a very strong country. A lot of the Nordic countries are quite strong. Finland is quite strong. I believe Sweden also has a great military, or even the UK. The UK doesn't really work all too closely with Europe, that being like the EU and all that kind of stuff. But I still wouldn't be shocked, if they are in NATO. So I wouldn't be shocked if they worked with the rest of Europe, and really solidified their military force. I think even that, like even without the UK, I for sure believe that NATO would be very strong. But like you throw the UK in there too, like NATO gets a big boost. Um, so I mean, I don't want the United States to split from Europe. I don't at all. I think that is a horrific idea. But Europe can definitely be successful without the United States. And I think once they realize that, and once the Trump administration pushes them away in its entirety, if that happens, it's going to be hard to turn back. In other news, the United States has seized a Venezuelan oil tanker. The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela and are holding the ship and crew at a port in Texas. Caroline Leavitt said the United States plans to seize all the oil on the tanker after going through the legal process. The administration claims this tanker has been used to transfer oil from Venezuela to Iran and claims it's known for carrying a black market of oil. Yet the administration has not provided any details on the ship or its crew or the legal rationale they used when seizing the boat. Per usual, this administration is doing things and telling us absolutely nothing about it. Yet they claim to be the most upfront administration ever. That's just not the case. I mean, let's be real. If that was the case, the Epstein files would have been released months ago. This administration and this war need to be shut down. Both are a waste of time and are wasting taxpayer dollars, money that could be going to so many more important things like protecting children in schools, for one. Why would we be going to war when we have people shooting up classrooms? Like, we have bigger problems in this country. We really do. And we need to focus on those bigger problems. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight, the Senate has rejected the healthcare bill ending the ACA subsides. The Senate has rejected the healthcare proposals from both Democrats and Republicans that would guarantee an expansion to the Affordable Care Act. Both proposals needed 60 votes, but neither party gave in to that. Some on each side did vote for each other's bill, but neither got enough votes to pass any of them. This means Americans can now expect higher healthcare premiums to skyrocket next year, as ACA subsides will no longer be in effect. So this shutdown was for nothing, unshockingly. I mean, there's not much more to say about that. That shutdown, waste of time. Now, Hakeem Jeffries needs to resign as soon as possible. He should have resigned months ago. The Democrats had all the cards to be successful during the government shutdown and still threw their shot down the drain. What are we doing, truly? Now they don't even have anything close for what they fought for in the first place. And it just shows that the shutdown was a waste of time. The shutdown has officially become one of the biggest failures by Democrats in recent years, maybe even in recent decades. I don't know about that, though. And if a change isn't made, a new party for sure needs to be created. We need a party for the people rather than a party that is controlled by the elites. Both Democrats and Republicans are controlled by the same side. They're just two sides of the same coin, and we need a party that isn't that. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching this video. Like, not that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. It's definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that is for sure. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me, helping me pay for my groceries, my clothes, all those kinds of things. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. That being said, though, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. I truly do appreciate it, and I will see you all this weekend.